Good morning. Namaste. This is Dr. Uma Kiruvetal, Faculty of Agricultural and Veterinary Sciences, Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. I had joined you in the previous sessions of Agricultural Microbiology Lab, and we had dealt with the common instruments that are used in a microbiology laboratory. So in this session, we will actually be dealing with one of the most important instruments that is used in a microbiology laboratory, the microscope. So what is a microscope? So I had earlier also told that microorganisms are called as microbes because they are so small that they cannot be ordinarily seen using the unaided eye. So the instrument that magnifies the image of these organisms and enables us to view their morphological features is a microscope. So it was discovered by Antony van Leeuwenhoek, and he's considered to be the father of microscopy. But the actual compound microscopes were present even before, because these convex lenses that were used for compound microscopes and the use of lenses in order to magnify things, they were already present. And then so this compound microscope contains several sets of lenses that magnifies an image at different levels. So the image is normally magnified first by an objective lens and then again by the eyepiece before it reaches the eye. So like, why do we need a microscope? Like, the most common bacteria that we deal with in industry or in a microbiology lab or in agricultural practices, they are in the range of, like, say, half a micrometer to like 10 micrometers in size. So like if you are dealing with mycoplasma and coxiella, they are like so short, and spirochetes is longer. So you could, if you're dealing with the spirochetes, you would be able to make do with lesser magnification. But if you want to look at mycoplasma, they are like about 0.2 to 0.3 microns in size, and so you will require specialized equipments in order to see them. So microscopes are like essential in order to view them. Now, if you're dealing with viruses, they are like in nanometer ranges. They can't be seen even by compound microscopes. You need electron microscopes in order to view them properly. So like there are different types of microscopes. A simple microscope, then the compound microscope, a simple, then the dark field microscopes. So these two, the simple and the compound microscopes, are actually bright field microscopes. Then the dark field microscopes are there, phase contrast microscopes are there, fluorescence microscopes, which uses the principle of fluorescence. So if you have a fluorescing product that is there in any of the bacteria, or you are staining them with any of the fluorescing products, then that could be used to determine the activity of the live cells. So fluorescence microscopy is used in a sense for looking at live cells. They could also be used for dead cells after fixing them. Then there are interference microscopes, electron microscopes, atomic force microscopes, polarization microscopes. There are multiple different forms of microscopy available. So I will show you the various parts of a microscope. Yeah. So this is a basic compound microscope, and in this microscope there is the eyepiece, that is the lens through which you will be seeing. And an eyepiece in a compound microscope is normally of 10x magnification. And then there is the head, and its adjustments for the eyepiece, so that like over there you can make the focus more clear, as well as like if depending on the spacing between your eyes, you will be able to adjust it so that you can use the eyepiece properly. Then there is the nose piece and the objective lenses which are connected to the nose piece. So in normal compound microscope, there will be magnifications of 4x, 10x, 40x, and 100x. So up to 40x, it's a normal air immersion microscope. But if you want 100x magnification, then you need to use oil such as pine oil. The lens, you can only observe that magnification through uh, a medium of higher refractive index such as pine oil. So that is how the magnification works. And then there is the frame and the stage control. So this is the stage on which you will be keeping your slide of the organisms. And once you have the stage, like you can adjust its height. So, and then look at the organism. And then there is the adjustments, the coarse adjustment and the fine adjustment, that will be in order to focus. So this is also movable. So this will actually, excuse me. So this will actually be able to move the lens slightly up or down in order to make the focus really fine, and you will be able to get a clear image. So there is a condenser and the illumination and the brightness adjustment for the illuminator and the light switch, and there is the base of the instrument. So what do all of these parts of a microscope do? So I will go into the functions of each and every one of them. So as I told, the stage is a fixed platform on which our sample will be loaded. So you have a glass slide on which you have your samples fixed or stained or whatever, and then you will be looking at it by keeping it on the stage. So the illumination or the light will be from underneath the stage, and there is something known as the Abbe condenser. So this is the component that is found directly under the stage, and it contains two sets of lenses that collect and concentrate light passing upward from the light source into the lens system. So this is equipped with an iris diaphragm and a shutter controlled by a lever. That is, this condenser is what focuses the light and regulates the amount of light that enters the lens system. Now there is a body tube, that is the connecting portion between the eyepiece and the objective, and this is connected to the eyepiece and the nose piece essentially. And since the objective is connected to the nose piece, it's essentially the conduit between the eyepiece and the objective. And then there are the adjustment knobs for the adjustment of the lens, so that you can focus on the image that is being obtained when you're looking through the microscope. And then you can also control the amount of light that is passing through each and that is coming out from the light source itself. So these are all the parts of a microscope. What is the basic principle of a microscope? So a microscope works on two principles, that is the magnification and the resolving power or the resolution. These are the two major factors that needs to be looked into when we are looking at a microscope. Like you want to magnify something, and then so magnification is essentially like you have a dot which is like about say 10 micrometer in size, and you want to magnify it. So actually how much it is looking like. So if it is looking enough like 10 millimeter, then it has been magnified around 1,000 times. And so you are able to see it as a particle that is 10 millimeter in size instead of 10 micrometer. And also, if it is looking as big as 1 millimeter in size, then it will be like it has been magnified 100 times. And so that way. So the magnification is actually calculated by getting the multiple of the magnification power of each of the lenses. So if your eyepiece can magnify 10 times, that's the eyepiece magnification is 10x, and you are using an objective also of 10x, then your total magnification will be 10 into 10, and so it will be 100 times. So instead, if you are using the 40x objective lens, then you will have a total magnification of 400x. And if you are using a objective of 100x, and then you are using the oil immersion method, then you will have a total magnification of 10 into 100, that is 1,000-fold magnification. So your total magnification will be 1,000. But you are seeing it magnified. What is the purpose? Like you are seeing it magnified, but if you are getting a blurred image where you can't identify between 2 points, then what good can come out of it? Because you won't be able to look at the 2 points separately and find out what its shape is, what its structure is, what its other morphological features are. So there comes into play the other most important factor of a microscope, that is its resolving power or resolution. So like as I said, magnification is important, but like if you are just think you are zooming in on the camera, so that can magnify, but there reaches a stage where you are zooming in and you are getting only grainy image. You won't be able to identify what is what. The image is so blurred, the pixel size is so low. So in essence, when you are like magnifying above a certain magnification, this what you are going to see through your microscope will also look something like that, and that is no use whatsoever. So for that, that is the property of the microscope called resolving power comes into play. So like when a lens cannot discriminate, that is when two objects appear as one, then it has lost its resolution. So increased magnification will not rectify this loss, and in fact, it will only blur the object. So the resolving power of a lens is dependent on the wavelength of the light used and the numerical aperture. So this numerical aperture is one of the most important factors of a microscope, and this is a characteristic of each lens, and it's imprinted on the objective. So the numerical aperture is defined as a function of the diameter of the objective lens in relation to its focal length. Now, you know that when you are talking about a concave lens or convex lens, the focal point is where all light passing through it at whatever height will focus. So that point is known as the focal length of the lens. So every lens will have a focal length, whether it be a concave lens or a convex lens that you are using. And so in a compound microscope, you will be using a convex lens. And so this is doubled by the use of the substage condenser, which illuminates objects with rays of light that pass through the specimen obliquely as well as directly. So resolving so the numerical aperture of a microscope of an objective lens is one thing that will define the resolving power of a microscope. It's also along with that, the numerical aperture of the condenser will also matter. So the resolving power of microscope can be given by the equation, R is equal to lambda by 2 into numerical aperture, where lambda is the wavelength of the light used. So, like, do you want R value to be high or R value to be low? That's a question, no? Actually, if the resolving power, the resolution is like 1 meter, then only when the two dots are kept 1 meter apart, you will be able to see them clearly as two dots. So you want the resolution to be as small as possible, not as large as possible. So like you are using visible light, it has got a wavelength between 400 to 700 nanometers, and that will give you a certain wavelength, a certain resolution. And now you are using ultraviolet light that has got a wavelength between 150 to 400 nanometers. Then the resolution is actually reducing. And so if the points are much closer, this light would be able to resolve it much faster. So that is the principle behind electron microscopy, because electrons are one of the most highest frequency waves, the least wavelength waves that you can get. And so they will be able to differentiate between points that are in the atomic range. And so you would be able to get resolve between points that are like so close together, and you will get a high resolution. And so the details in the most minutest level we would be able to identify when we are using a electron microscope. So I had in this session I had talked about the various, what is the use of a compound microscope, the objective and the eyepiece lenses, its magnification, what is magnification, how to calculate magnification, numerical aperture, resolution, and what are the factors which are determining the resolution, whether we need high resolution or low resolution in a microscope, and such things. So hope you have understood the principle and the operation of a microscope with this session. And because microscopy is one of the major principles that you will have to use in order to visualize your samples in the for the experiments that will be taken in the upcoming sessions. So go through this video and the notes very well and learn this, because microscopy is an essential part of the microbiology laboratory. So that will be all for now. Thank you. Have a good day.